Welcome to 1000 GM Player Profiles. We are here today with FM Fide Master Austin Mei. Welcome, Austin. How does it feel to be here?
It feels great. When I found out I was getting this norm term for free, like I'm like, wait, this has to be a scam. And then I investigated, and I'm like, no, this is legit. This is awesome.
So, what do you understand of the mission of 1000 GM? What does it mean to you, and what do you see as the mission?
Since they're doing it for free, I see that what they're trying to do is they're trying to make norm tournaments, high level tournaments, accessible to people who may not normally have the financial means to go to such tournaments.
Great, great. And you sound very excited about playing for free. Is that really true? Your entry fee is fully covered and you don't have to pay at all?
Well, they made me pay the deposit, but that's just to make sure like you don't like drop out and just screw up the whole tournament. Like, imagine if you played in the whole norm tournament, but one guy like he like, drop out in the middle and there's four norm. You just wasted your whole travel. I
Great,
think
great.
that's good.
Yeah. Of course, there's a deposit, but you'll get all the money back, right?
Yeah, all the money back.
Great. And is that you mentioned that's unusual? Is that really unusual? Or have you ever played in an event where you could, get all your money back and play for free, basically?
Not really, because most of these norm tournaments they have to hire like grandmasters to play in them to provide the norm. So those people they won't play unless you pay them.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
true.
where the money goes.
Yeah, that is very true. And how many norm tournaments have you played in so far?
I think I played in four before. Yeah, four.
Great, great. And have you earned any norms yet?
Nah, I was close one time, but I screwed it up.
How far were you missing it by half a point?
Yeah, basically half a point. I mean, it was I could have agreed to a draw, but I kept pushing and I ended up losing. But
Oh man, that's terrible. Well, that does happen, and that's the nature of competition. And I can tell that you're a fierce competitor if you said no to the draw. Um, let's stick real quick with how this will impact the chess scene. Um, if 1000 GM is able to execute this mission, how do you think it will impact players like yourself?
I think it's gonna make it a lot easier for us to go to more norm tournaments, and then if you go to more tournaments, you have a higher chance to get norms, and so that will mean like more U.S. players will have opportunity to achieve higher titles, and that might further their chess career because those elite international tournaments you have to have a FIDE title to get invited.
Yeah, and are U.S. players on the back foot compared to say players in Germany, France, Italy, England,
Yes, I
or
think
anywhere
it's a
in Europe?
very big disadvantage, and the reason is because the United States is such a huge country. So all the people that play in the tournaments in the U.S. they're almost all U.S. players. But in Europe, because the countries are like so much smaller, people travel to different countries, almost like we travel to different states to play in tournaments. So they have people from all over Europe, and so that means like they satisfy the three countries requirement more easily. Whereas here we have to invite people.
Yeah, can you explain the three countries requirement real quick, just for our audience, in case they don't know what that is?
Oh yeah, sure. So basically, in addition to achieving like a certain performance, you also have to play people of I think it's four now, four
Four. It's
different
actually
countries.
four. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, four foreign countries. So uh, normally, like they have to get someone who's either in university here or like someone who's maybe not so active, but like with the money incentive, they will agree to play.
Yeah, yeah, and what are the quality of these events that you have played so far?
I think they're pretty well organized. Like for the most part, there's no cheating, there's no delays, mispairings, stuff like that. The playing venues have been pretty nice.
Great,
TVs have been good.
awesome. And is that important to you, especially maybe where you stay? Is where you stay for these events important?
Yeah, I definitely prefer to stay somewhere near like my playing venue because the travel time may be an issue. Like if you have to call an
Hmm.
Uber to go to where you're playing from your hotel, like it could delay your game. You could you could lose time on the clock, and every minute counts when you're playing these high level games.
Yeah, yeah. And um, do you have any experience with college scholarships at all?
Nope, I'm a sophomore.
Oh, right. Oh, you're a sophomore in high school.
Well, I'm rising junior.
Okay. Oh, yeah, next year, of course, because the school year's over.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I should have led with how old are you first? Because you're pretty
Um,
well spoken for your age.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm 16 and turning 17 in a few months.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Okay, Mister almost 17. I have to land the hard question that 1000 GM wants to know is is there systemic discrimination in chess toward financially privileged players?
Um, I think absolutely because and it's not just the entry fee to the tournaments. I think that has to be like one of the smaller costs, but also to acquire coaches, training materials, the flight, the hotel. All of that costs a lot of money. So only like more financially privileged people can afford to travel to access all of these opportunities. So the people who have like they can't get the resources, they obviously won't get as good, no matter how talented they are at the game.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that. I mean, especially at 16, I wish most 16-year-olds would be as well spoken as you are. But let's move on to your origins. Let's go back in time. It's not that far back in time for you, but I want to hear about how you started playing chess because this is always super interesting to me.
Oh yeah, so back when I was like really little, I used to suck at chess. I was so bad at it, and I'd hate when people asked me to play because I'd lose every single game. I'd
Wait,
actually
when did you
prefer to
start?
coach.
When did you start? What
Well,
age?
I knew that my preschool teacher taught me how to play when I was like 5, but
Wow.
I just basically didn't try to improve at it until like my dad asked me if I wanted to join the chess club in 4th grade. So I thought, why not? I don't do anything after school anyways. I'll check it out. So I went to the chess club, and this is the story I like to tell people is at the start the coach he set up like a backrank mate. He just put like a king and then 3 pawns in front of it and then a rook and a king. And he's like, if you can see the checkmate, then you can go to the advanced group. If you don't see the checkmate, you can go to the beginners group. And I thought, oh shoot, I don't see the checkmate. So, but I didn't want to look stupid, so I decided to go to the advanced group. But I got killed like every single game, and so I thought, losing sucks. I don't want to lose every game anymore. So I asked my dad to get me a chess book, and he got me this book called Chess for Dummies.
He got you chess for dummies. Wow, there you go. Oh, that's excellent.
And I wasn't super inspired that I was reading that book, but then the more I read, the more I thought this game is actually really interesting. And then I started beating all the people at my chess club, and I think I was improving pretty fast because by the end of the year, like I won the club championships, and where at the start I was like the worst guy. So I thought, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this, and I thought maybe I'll start spending more time on this game and see where I can go.
Wow, that's awesome. And I mean, how did it's interesting that either players quit when they lose lots of games or it really ups their level of their game. And it looks like you put in a lot of time. Where did you go after Chess for Dummies? I'm assuming you just ate through that book.
I
Quick.
went on chess.com and
Oh, okay.
I got a Dime membership and used the resources they have there.
Great.
I thought that would be a good first starting point because it's like the most popular resource, so I thought it had to be good.
That's great. And I know you said you want to keep your current coach secret before the interview, but did you have any coaches that were formative in really right when you're starting to play tournaments and things like that?
If I had to say one, it's probably the first coach I had. I don't think I'm giving anything away by sharing this information. He was a guy called Daniel Rodriguez.
Okay.
He's a coach in the Austin area, and he coaches a lot of people, and me as well. I think he helped my chess development a lot.
And then why are you seeking titles now? I mean, you want to become an IM or a GM. That's the next step for you. And what drives you to do that?
Well, one reason is because I've already spent a lot of effort on it, so I feel like it wouldn't make sense to stop right now. I feel like it would be best to try to go as far as I can before hit my ceiling.
Yeah.
And second thing is I just like enjoy playing the game a lot. I think it's fun to analyze things, especially, and a lot of the analysis uh, wouldn't help me unless I'm actively pursuing a title.
So it seems like you have some big goals in chess. Can you give us a glimpse into what your goals are?
Well, you know that saying like a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. I figured like I'm just gonna go step by step, and then whatever happens happens. So I think a good first step is to get IM. That's kind of like my next goal.
And what is it going to take to get that? What's your current rating, and what do you need to actually achieve the IM title?
Okay, my current rating is 2249, and I have like a lot of points to gain and have 0 norms. So it's gonna be pretty difficult. Probably not gonna make it this summer. Like it might take like a year to get the title, and probably like a lot of training, like a few hours every day.
Okay, great. And first, let's first start with how many tournaments you think it's going to take you to do that.
Well, that's difficult because the 4 I've already played, I only got close once. But the more I play, I feel like the more experience I get. So I think like if I had to put an estimate for how many more tournaments I need to get all my norms, maybe 10.
Okay, great. And then do you think you'll get the amount of rating points as well? You still have a 40K factor, don't you?
No, I don't, because I went over 20 and then I dropped.
So you have an unfortunate disadvantage that your K factor is now 20 again.
Yeah, but the advantage to that is like because my starting point is lower. Like I can afford to make more draws and losses and still get in.
That's true. Okay, that's very interesting. So let's transition to your training. You just mentioned it would take like 2 hours a day. Is that what you're putting in currently, or are you putting in more?
It's definitely going to take more than 2 hours per day during the summer. During the school year, like you don't have much of a choice because you have homework, AP courses, whatever exams you need to study for. And 2 hours a day is probably realistically the most you're going to be able to get. However, during the summer, I don't have any other obligations, and I'm trying to put like 5-6 hours every day.
Right. That's fantastic. And do you think you have a leg up on your competition, even with higher rated players, because you can put that time in? I spoke with some players that have full-time jobs even while they're going to play these events. Does the fact that you can put in that time over the summer, and will that give you an advantage, say, even in the first 1,000 GM event?
It depends on who you're comparing me with. I think against people who are like in college or they're having a career, I think I'll probably be at an advantage. But other kids like me, or there's a lot of people younger, like Ryo, Andy, they even when school starts, like they basically have no homework. So those types of people, they're going to be able to put more time than me. So I'd say I have an advantage over the people who are older than me, and disadvantage against people who are younger.
Against the strong players that are younger than you. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Do you have any rivals? I'm just curious because you mentioned a few players, but do you have any rivals in the tournament?
Not in that tournament. Like I don't exactly have like an arch nemesis right now. I used to have a best friend named Rohit, and then like we met at a chess club. Initially, he was a lot higher rated than me, but soon like we kind of became like rivals. And then our ratings were pretty close. Like even now, our ratings are still pretty close, and we played like over 200 games against each other on chess.com.
Oh wow!
So I guess you could say he's kind of like my rival.
All right.
But like more of like a friendly competition. It's not like we hate each other or something like that.
Yeah, and the players in the tournament's the same way, basically.
Yeah, we're mostly all friends with each other. Like, if not friends, like acquaintances. We talk to each other after the game, analyze whatever.
Right.
But when it comes time to play, it's a totally different attitude.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to the training. What stuff are you working on right now? Are you working on mostly tactics and opening, or are you working on endgame as well? What is maybe just walk us through your typical training day?
That's difficult because I don't exactly have like a plan. I kind of just like do what I feel every day.
But you have a current coach, right? Or you're meeting with your coach
Yeah,
weekly.
yeah, weekly.
And then what kind of stuff does he give you to work on?
We mostly do calculation, and on my own time, like I try to work on calculation as well because I think that's the area I'm lacking in. I
Okay.
also have to do a lot of opening work because at higher levels, like you have to keep up to date with all the openings because the stuff changes so fast with all these engines.
Right. There's such a wide variety of lines that you have to
Yeah.
to know. Okay, that's great. And why would you say you need to work on calculation the most?
It's because um, I tend to miss things like I shouldn't miss when I'm calculating. Like I can calculate pretty deep, but the problem is I always miss stuff along the way. Like I'll play a move and then he'll play something, and then I'll realize, oh, I can't do this because he has that.
Right. Right.
So I need to work on kind of like my vision in the middle of the calculation.
How deep do you need to calculate in a typical position, like say like a typical middle game? Um,
Oh,
can you even say that, or is it positionally dependent?
well, if it's a tactical position and there's a lot of pieces flying around, I honestly think it's going to be really difficult to calculate more than like maybe six half moves because there's just so many different options on every move, especially if a lot of the moves aren't very forcing.
Hmm.
If there's a lot of forcing moves, it certainly becomes easier, but even then, it's still kind of difficult. Like if you've ever done like super high rated tactics on chess.com before,
Yeah.
and then you'll notice like there's like 10 different checks you can give, and then after the king moves, like the king has 8 different squares to go to, and then you have like 9 different checks after that. Like soon it becomes like almost impossible to follow everything accurately.
Yeah. What do you think is the hardest thing to calculate?
Definitely silent moves. It's
Uh,
because your opponent, if he doesn't have a concrete threat he has to react to, he has so many different things he can do, and you have to consider all of them.
yeah. Yeah. I was speaking with one of the grandmasters, and he showed it a game. I can't believe remember who the player was, but he showed this bishop g8 idea in his game where his opponent, a strong player, another grandmaster, missed it because it was such a nice quiet move that prevents his king from escaping. Um, do you have any? I'm curious if you've have any memorable games like that where you've played a quiet move like that. Can you think of any off the top of your head?
Oh shoot, I don't think so because every time I try to do that, I tend to lose, which isn't a good sign.
Well, quiet moves are the hardest ones to find for sure. Okay, let's move on from your study and your training regiment to what it's like to actually play a tournament like this. You said you've played 4 of them and come very close to norms. Um, Psychologically, what do you do to prepare yourself before a game?
um, this is tricky. Um, I think like first things first. When you go to norm tournaments, you have to be prepared to lose a lot of games. Like there's one tournament I think I lost like 7 games out of 9. Like it was
Oh
really tough.
wow.
But I reminded myself like, at the end of the day, like chess, it's just a game. If you lose a bunch of games, like it's not the end of the world. The only thing that's gonna change is like this number that people call your rating.
Right.
Um, like as you get older, like if you move away from chess or something like that, this stuff's not gonna be that important. So like just enjoy the game as it is, and if you do happen to get the norm, it's like an extra bonus basically.
Yeah, yeah. And do you get nervous in your games at all?
I mean, of course, like every player gets nervous during their game, but I think it's important to try to calm your nerves when you feel like they're getting out of control. Like I think a good idea is just to go to the bathroom, splash some water on your face, warm water preferably, and then just like kind of like rub your face. Like if it feels a lot better, take a few deep breaths, and then you come back to the board and you feel a lot better.
I like the splash your face method. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you do that often in your games, or occasionally?
Like I don't do it too often, but like occasionally is a good refresher.
Yeah, if you're really nervous.
Yeah.
Does it make you nervous to play like an international master or grandmaster?
Mm, no, because if you play someone who's like out of your league stronger than you, then you know that there's no expectation for you to win, right? So
Yeah.
like you can go into the game knowing like you're probably gonna lose the game, anyways. So you don't get too disappointed if you find, oh shoot, I'm busted out of the open. It's like, just find out what you did wrong, improve the next game, you'll get better.
Would you say it's more exciting to play them?
Uh, yes, because I feel like when you play people who are higher than you, they're more motivated to fight for an advantage. But when you play people who are lower than you, sometimes they just want to draw it. And
Yeah.
especially if you're black, like there's not much you can do about it. Like they'll play the most boring opening in the world, and then you'll have like basically no winning chances, and it'll just be like such a sucky game.
So you prefer more exciting tactical games rather than slow positional games?
I wouldn't say it like that though. Slow positional games can be very interesting as well. Like a good example is the King's Indian. It's both positional and tactical. Positional in the sense that Black needs to know certain maneuvers, like the Rook F7, Bishop F8 maneuver. This Knight G8, no Knight F7, Knight 8. No, was it? It was Knight H8, Knight F7, Knight H6 to push through G4. That maneuver. White needs to know like positional ideas, like he tries to get the knight to C7 or whatever. But when it comes down to it, at the end of those games, there's always a ton of time.
Yeah.
So yes, positional games, slow positional games can also be very interesting.
Okay, I appreciate that. Let's see. Actually, there's one training question I forgot. Do you do any specific exercise to train?
Exercise, as in like a sort of a drill that I do for training.
Like,
there's one I do.
Yeah, I know like Fabiano goes and swims, or there's a couple
you mean
players
like
that go out.
exercise?
Yeah, there's a couple players that run before their matches and things like that.
I don't really do that, but maybe I should. Maybe I should.
No, I was just curious. I mean, everybody has their own style, so some players like to exercise before matches and some don't. So just it's neither right nor wrong. How about any special diet? I can guess the answer, but I want to hear from you.
Diet. This is actually very, very important for when you're playing chess. Like I'd say the number one thing like that will improve your chances of winning a game. It's not how much preparation you do, not how much sleep you get. It's what you eat before the game. Because there's a few things you absolutely have to avoid. One, spicy food. This is a huge no-no. If you eat spicy food before the game, you're going to be in big trouble. I'm not going to elaborate on it.
I'll second that, yeah.
And then number two is no matter what you eat, don't eat too much of it. Because when you digest food, like it takes blood away from your brain. So you physically cannot think as much when you have a full stomach.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't eat more than a salad. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
You can't also have an empty stomach because then you won't have the energy to make it through the game. Also, if you're lactose intolerant, like no dairy products before the game, obviously. Try to avoid like eating cold and hot food together. Like there's a ton of this kind of stuff like that applies to like any activity, but for chess especially, it's very important.
Right. I appreciate that. Thank you. And let's talk about your future. You're going to be a junior in high school. Are you looking at going to any specific colleges or looking at it for chess-wise? Anything like that?
Based on geographical proximity, I think Stanford would be a good option, but obviously that school is incredibly difficult to gain entrance to.
Yeah.
Chess-wise, there's a few colleges in Texas. They offer really good chess programs, like University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, I think, and University of Texas Dallas, Texas Tech. They all offer quite good chess programs. However, their like actual like schooling isn't super high up there. I mean, they're still good schools, no doubt about it, but like they're not top tier.
So Stanford would be your number one then.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And do they offer anything chess-wise? In chess scholarships?
I don't know. I mean, they probably have a good chess club, and I remember Nerdinsky went there. I don't know about the actual strength of their chess team, though. I definitely have to check that out.
Okay, yeah, and I forgot to ask, where do you currently live?
Palo Alto.
Okay, you live in Palo Alto. So yeah, not far at all. What about Berkeley?
Berkeley's a consideration as well.
Okay, I'm just curious. I didn't know if you had like a preference that you really liked at Stanford and you didn't like Berkeley. Okay. So let's move on to the rapid fire portion of the questions, and these are meant to be totally fun. So just a few words. You don't have to say too much on these. I'm going to start
Okay.
with, who's your favorite superhero?
This is gonna be a difficult one.
Yeah. Yes, I didn't give you this one beforehand because I want to see your instant reaction. You gotta say it within like 5 or 10. You can pick a couple if you want. You don't have to say one.
All right, can you cut out a few seconds in the middle while I think about this?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. That's fine. I might want to show your thinking though. It's kind of funny.
Okay, if I had to say one, it's probably Spider-Man, just because like
Okay.
in the at least he's kind of like relatable. Like he's portrayed like they portray his like high school life as well as his superhero life, and I feel like a lot of the struggles he has as a high school student, like as a normal high school student, while also like trying to be a superhero on the side, like it's kind of it's both funny and relatable at the same time.
That's a
That's
great
why.
answer. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, let's go on to, if you could have one person, oh sorry, one actor play you in a movie of your life, what actor would that be? It's okay if you don't know that many.
I'm not
Yeah, I mean
I'm not
sometimes.
super well versed
Yeah,
in movies or actors, so I probably only know like a dozen actors off the top of my
it could
head.
be anybody. It doesn't have to look like you either. Like I would pick probably The Rock, so I could have some really giant guy playing chess and pretend that I'm that strong.
Okay, maybe if I had to choose one, it'd be the guy who plays Shang-Chi from the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Oh, nice, nice. I don't know his name either. Hold on, we gotta cut it out. I'll cut this, and you can say that again. And what's his name? I'm gonna
The
Google
guy
it.
who plays Shang from the Legend of the Ten Rings. I think
Uh,
that.
is it? Hold on. Yeah, we'll say that. That's great. I like that. That's a really good answer. Uh, what's his? I'm going on the IMDb real quick. Uh, Simu Liu. Is that how you say his name? It's
Um,
Simuliu. I'll have to do a little
um,
bit editing for this interview, but I like that answer a
yep,
lot.
it's that guy.
How do you say his name though? Just say Simu.
I actually don't. I don't know because in Mandarin, characters they have like tones, but when they're like written in English, like you don't know what the tones are, so I don't
Right.
know how to say it.
Just say Simu then. Okay, so let's try that again. What would your, if you could pick one actor that would play you in a movie of your life, who would it be?
Simu Liu, who plays I think Steven from Legend of the Ten Rings.
All right, that's great. I mean, he's got a nice physical build. I think he'd represent you pretty well. Okay, let's try another one. Do you like any games other than chess?
Oh yeah. I already mentioned to this in the post in the pre interview chat, but Magic the Gathering is a game that I like a lot. It's like a card game. It's kind of like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh. If anyone in the audience has played those games, it's like a turn-based strategy game, just like chess, and that's why I like it.
Awesome.
Uh, Basically, the objective of the game is you play like you summon monsters, and then you go try to kill your opponent by doing damage to him.
Nice. That's exciting. Are there strategies that you can kind of use parallel strategies to chess? Is it strategic like chess?
Oh yes, yes. There's one. I think this applies to basically all games. The threat is stronger than the execution.
Oh,
Basically means like if you make a threat to your opponent, then basically like the consequences he has to respond to the threat. The response that he does may be worse than the consequences that if he just let you execute the threat. It's the same thing in Magic. Sometimes people will bluff having a card in their hand. They'll just hold up one card in their hand, and you don't know what that card is. But it could be something that could mess up your plan.
Right.
So you try to play around it. So even if they don't have anything good, like it'll still affect the way you play, basically.
That's really interesting. Okay, do you have any favorite chess movies or TV shows?
Queen of Catway was really good. I liked it. Like connecting back to the earlier question, like it kind of showcases how someone who comes from a lower socioeconomic background can still climb the ranks in chess and become an extremely strong player. The Queen's Gambit is also it's also a really good TV show, but it's kind of inappropriate.
Yeah, for anyone under 18, yeah, it's definitely a 18 plus show. But Queen of Kotway is a very good one. I'll second that. I love that. Actually, I like both, but I really do enjoy the Queen of Kotway. And then a couple chess-related questions. Ready? But quick. Who's your favorite historical player in chess? Morphy?
Morphy.
Great. Paul Morphy. Okay, and who's your favorite contemporary player? Modern player?
I don't really have a favorite because they all play kind of like in the same way, with like in that computery style.
Yeah, but who did you root for in the candidates then? Did you root for anybody?
I didn't really root for anyone. I just kind of like looked more at the games than the players.
The American players will not be happy. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Okay, great. And do you have any role models or heroes that you look up to, in chess or otherwise?
Okay, so you know who Jeffrey is, right? Jeffrey Shong?
Oh yeah, Jeffrey Shong, yes. Very strong Grandmaster and prodigy.
He's kind of like a role model. I mean, like, just like based on how his chess improvement went and how he managed to make it to the very top, I think it's pretty inspiring. Wei Yi is like the same way as well. Like they're both like young prodigies and got up there to 2,700. I think they're good role models.
Great. That's a fantastic answer. Okay, and then one last really important question before we get to the game. What would you like to say to your fans?
My fans, if I ever play you in an over-the-board game, please do not play the Caro against me. I absolutely hate against the Caro. It's so boring and it ends in a draw half the time. Please just play anything interesting. The Sicilian, the perk, the two knights, just something that doesn't end in a forced draw.
Okay, so you know exactly what to play him in a simul. For a draw. All right, great. Let's transition to seeing one of your best games, or is that what we're doing, your best game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So go ahead and share your screen when you're ready.
Ooh, I actually love this game. This has been my best game for a while. So because like I've been at 2200 level or 2100 level for a while, you'd expect my best game to be like from then, but my best game is actually one I played like a long time ago, like pretty early in my career. So this was a game from one of those Dallas Fide Opens.
Great.
And there's a ton of really strong players here, and so I could have registered for the lower section, but I wanted a challenge, so I decided to register for the opening section. But there's like a ton of strong people at the top, and because they weren't doing accelerated pairings, like got matched with someone who's way higher rated than me. So
great. Yeah, look at this. Well, if the audience can't read the point difference, how much higher rated was your opponent than you?
He is. Okay, my mental math's not good. 387 points higher rated than me.
That was pretty good. You did that fast. 387 points higher. That's almost like, if I remember the math behind this, it's like a 6 or 7% chance of winning.
Yeah.
Statistical chance. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right into it.
All right, so I just finished reading my.
One thing before you start, can you lean back a little bit? Is that possible? Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay.
So before going to this tournament, I just finished reading my 2 Kings Indian books, so I decided to play it against this guy because I thought if I play a sharp opening, we might mess up.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so I was surprised when he played E3 here. Like this was like before the Fianchetto and G4 systems became popular. So basically, everyone still played the classical
Mm-hmm.
King's Indian, and then but this guy played like this, and I was just really confused. I'm like, this just looks really passive. So I just played like a normal setup,
Mm-hmm.
and then went for like the normal queen side attack that you get in the King's Indian.
Right.
Uh, but here I thought about it for a while, and I thought, well, since he didn't play e4, I'm gonna play e4 myself,
Great.
and then 92 and rook e8. And so this is actually like a lot like the King's Indian attack with the colors reversed.
Mm-hmm.
This game's actually part of the reason why I still play the King's Indian attack is because like I always hope that I'm gonna get a game just like this tonight.
Oh, nice. Well,
Okay, so here
well,
I-
no one has really refuted the King's Indian. Rather, Alpha Zero has made it actually shown that it's perfectly viable.
Yeah, it is fine. I think it's not bad for black, but he has to know what he's doing. And some of the lines are kind of annoying to play against. So
Yeah.
I like as of late, like I've stopped playing this opening, mostly because of the G4 system, where I find it difficult to get
Mm-hmm.
counterplay against.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I actually didn't study the King's Indian attack before this, so I had to come up with this plan on my own. But I'm happy that I found it. It's playing knight f8, h5, and then basically the plan is I bring this bishop out and move the knight, and then I try to push the pawn here to make the weakness on the king side.
Yeah. But you didn't know that plan when you were
I didn't know before.
1789. That's great. You just found it on your own.
Okay, and then here he played a novelty, and it wasn't a good one. He played rook a to d1. So this is one thing I noticed beginners they do a lot is like they try to put the rooks on e1 and d1. So my opponent's definitely not a beginner, but he makes a beginner mistake. He tries to put both of the rooks in the middle files, even though the middle is closed.
Yeah, the e
what he
file's
should do
totally
is-
totally locked. Right.
Yeah. He should move this rook out this way.
Right.
And then there's a very subtle point. It's after I develop the bishop, he can move the queen back.
Oh,
So this
wow.
move has two purposes. One is because sometimes I can do this tactic, knight takes d4, and then after he takes with the pawn, I push d3 and fork the knight and the queen. So the queen gets out of the diagonal of the bishop. And secondly, if I make a sacrifice on h3 or something like that, the queen can come back and defend. But the rook can't do that. The rook here doesn't help white's defense at all. In fact,
Right.
it actually harms him a lot because it blocks his own king from escaping. So this is why he needed to move this rook out of the way.
Right. I've seen a lot of games
But
where the white king walks over to the queen side under pressure.
Yeah.
Like black will sacrifice a piece and to open it up, and it's really complicated.
And then bishop f5. Yeah, this move is another strange move from my opponent. Like, I think maybe he was just operating under the assumption that I wasn't very good because I was using a lot of time, and he assumed that when he pushed the pawn here, maybe I was just going to take it. So from that perspective, this move makes sense because then when, like, for example, if after this, like, I take this pawn, and then, like, I continue with the plan, then he can play, like, knight c4, for example, and then the rook is nicely placed in the d file behind the pawn.
All right, let's see what you did instead.
Well, I didn't make a good. This move is actually bad. Yeah, I didn't put in what was the best move. I'm just gonna quickly take a look.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, the best move is just to continue like this.
Oh, continue with the plan. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just push this pawn there. But I saw this pawn here. Like I knew I shouldn't take it, but I kind of started panicking because I saw higher rated guy. He was attacking me, so I thought I had to do something. So I just quickly moved this knight, and I was hoping he wouldn't see queen e5 because it forks the pawn and the knight on.
Oh yeah, you hoped he wouldn't find the most obvious move. That's funny.
And then he realized what was going on. And he took out this knight. You know, the funny thing is, queen e5 isn't even a real threat because after queen e5, he can still take the knight, and then after I take back, then he moves his other knight away.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, it's not even that big of a threat. That's a good point.
But regardless, this was still a strong move because this knight on g4 is actually my main attacker. Like I was hoping that he would do something like h3 to stop the threat. Then this knight can actually go here. Like, I know the knights look kind of bad on the rim, but the important point is, like, when the knight moves out of the way, I can move the queen into the attack, and then he can't stop a sacrifice on the h3 split.
Yeah. Okay, so he
So
took
instead,
anyway.
he took this knight.
Mm-hmm.
I took with the pawn. So I think this was more of like a practical decision, because I thought I needed to open both the h file and take the f3 square into my control to have decent winning chances. Like, for example, if I take with the bishop, like, I think he already has this interesting option to sacrifice to exchange, and then like the engine doesn't like it very much, but like visually it looks pretty good for white because he's got like this big pawn mass on the queen side. Without this pawn, I don't really have chances to attack, and the centralized knight kind of dominates my other knight on h7.
Yeah.
But even like if he doesn't do this, like he can calmly move the rook over, and
right.
It's actually not so easy to conduct an attack without provoking this move first, because then I just don't have a target on the king side.
Right. And you're kind of pushing the rook a little bit more back to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
All right. What did he play after your response here?
Yeah, this was actually a blunder. I mean, it looks so natural. You just add more pieces to the queen side. But unfortunately for him, it's already too late for him to attack on the queen side. My king side attack is already too fast. So what he needed to do actually was he needed to bring more pieces to defend his king, and then after he repulsed my attack, go back to the queen side, because like I'm not going to be able to do anything about this in the meantime.
Right.
So I would bring in the queen, but then he can use his knight to defend. And then I try to bring in more attackers, but then he can do it because his bishop on a3, like it's useless unless I take on c5. Then he can open the bishop.
Right.
But like the bishop's just kind of in limbo on a3, so he should bring it back to b2. And if you notice what his best plan is, it's just to trade off all my attackers. So if he just keeps trading all my pieces until I have no pieces to attack with, then he can switch back over to this side and do his own attack.
Is this equal, or does the white have an advantage there?
No, this is equal, but it definitely still looks kind of scary.
Yeah, yeah.
And after knight c4, yeah, brought the queen in, and then yeah, so I saw him reaching for the d6 pawn, like he was about to touch it, but then he took his hand back and he decided to think about something else. Like I thought maybe when he played knight c4, he thought he could just take this pawn for free, but if he takes a pawn, I just ignore it.
Yeah,
and I just keep developing my attack.
Right, right.
And
yeah.
I have this sacrifice.
And then the f3 sacrifice is really consequential. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, and that would just be completely winning, right? Can you show what would happen with the attack on the queen there? Because that's kind of interesting. Yeah, if they move their queen, then show the mate.
Let's say queen b2 or something.
Yeah.
Like this. And look, notice how all the white pieces are on the queen side. Nobody's over there to defend his king. The one piece that's next to his king is actually blocking his escape. And after queen h3, there's literally nowhere to stop.
Yeah, there's no way to stop it.
He has to play e4, I think, so that after queen h3, there's knight e3. But I think even here, I can go here and just remove the knight, and then he still can't. Actually, no. This isn't gonna work because I can take it with the rook.
Oh, nice.
Hold on, does this actually work? I don't think this works. That's not good.
No, I think you could just take. Oh. Can't you just take on c3 instead of playing bishop h6? And isn't that pawn just hanging? E4 pawn.
I get mated on this.
Oh, no. You're right, because he has all those extra pawns. You don't want to win pawn here. What do you play after e4? Oh, no, there's bishop. Yeah, duh. Of course. I'll cut that part out, because obviously bishop e5 is completely crushing. Yeah, so he can only defend once. Show that one more time, just so it's clear. So after 93, and then show that. I'll cut that out.
So after e4, queen h3, knight e3. This knight's not protecting e5, so the bishop goes to e5.
Right, and there's mate on h2. Yeah, very nice. Okay, so then what did you play in the game?
So he kept moving pieces, but like I just kept ignoring it. move this knight, and then let me turn off the engine because it's making me lag a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he thought maybe he had this prophylactic move because now knight f3 is not cheap, but I just play it anyway.
Wow. Wow.
So what?
That's really nice. I'm not sure if I see the exact mate yet, but are you planning to play like King H7, Rook H8, or is that too slow?
That's too slow. I actually kind of like had an idea of what was gonna happen. Like, I calculated probably up until I played Bishop E5 later, and then I decided once I get there, I'll figure it out because it looks pretty close to mate. So I knew there had to be some sort of finishing blow there, but I just didn't see it from back here. Yeah, I was actually most concerned about this move.
Oh wow!
Because then if I take the pawn, then he can take this knight, and then my own pawn kind of gets in the way.
Yeah.
But there's this really nice move, Queen H5, the computer points out, because let's say White takes this, for example. Then when I take here, he takes the knight, I can take with the queen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but Queen H5 is one of those quiet moves that you were talking about earlier. It's a little hard to see from far away. Very nice.
But he took the knight.
He took it. Okay.
Like I don't think he still probably didn't believe me.
It's just bishop. It's just. You attack the queen. You gain the tempo that way, right? And then.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Bishop E4.
Yeah, this one was really...
Very nice.
Because
you're just threatening G3 right away. Wow. Really beautiful. Oh, that's a really nice move. Bishop E4 is a stellar move. How much time did it take you to find that? Do you remember?
I don't have my original notation.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I kept my time there. But like I can assume I probably was getting pretty low. And I think at this point my opponent started realizing something was wrong and he started thinking, but it's already too late.
Yeah. Yeah, he should have thought when you played Knight F3.
Yeah.
Or before that. That's very nice. Okay, let's see the finish here.
They played Rook G1 to stop G3. I think this is the only defense. They played Bishop E5, and then there's actually another way to win. I can play Rook E5, and
right.
He takes Bishop E5, and he can't stop the mate on H2.
Yeah. Rook E5 is a really nice move. Very nice. But it has the same effect. Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that checkmate.
The pawn and the bishop.
The queen is just a spectator. But
actually,
bishop.
That comment's really important.
Say it again.
The queen is just a spectator. You'll see what I mean later.
Oh, great. So yeah, but Bishop E5, I like it still though, because if he takes, then the rook becomes super powerful. So it seems like it's just winning still.
Yep. And so Rook G3, he had to do this because Rook H5 was a threat. So he had to do this. And then when I got here, I started seeing like the final combination coming together. So I played Rook H5, and I hoped you wouldn't see it. Actually, I thought King G1 was smart defense, and I didn't actually see a way to checkmate him after this.
Yeah, I see.
There's actually one brilliant way to get it out, and after Rook G1, Queen H3 check, and there's Queen G2. And White's
that's beautiful. I feel like I've seen this in a Tall game. I think there's a famous game by Tall where he plays a move like that.
Oh yeah, I know that. He played like Queen G7 with the rook.
Right. Yeah. The similar idea though, because you're mating on the back rank again. Really nice. Okay. And then so how did it finish? He just played H3.
Yeah, with the idea that if I take, he probably thought I would just take it, but now there's no attack, and White goes and picks up all the material.
But he missed your sacrifice. He missed your sacrifice, I see.
Yep. I said the spectator, so.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. Take it. F2 check. And then he actually resigned. He didn't let me play the mate.
Right.
But I think it would have been more courteous to play and allow that.
More sporting, more for the fans, right? To allow the actual
Yeah.
mate. Yeah, one of my good friends, I am Kostya Kavutsky, always plays to mate just for the fans. Okay, well, that's a great game. I appreciate that, Austin. We're pretty much running out of time, so let's wrap up. Go ahead and switch back to. Um, we'll go back to the main Zoom screen. Yeah. So very nice game, and I appreciate that you shared that with us. It's very exciting, and the audience will definitely like that. So let's wrap up by talking about your preparation coming into this 1000 GM event. How you said you're going to work 5 hours. Are you going to increase your time at all as it gets closer to the event? Are you going to work every day?
Every day until the day before. I think you should have 1 day to rest before the tournament. Just don't do any chess at all for that 1 day. Otherwise, like if you work too much on the day before the game, it could mess with you when you're actually playing.
Great, great. I appreciate that. I mean, how? Okay, I gotta ask this question. I mean, you're 16. How are you already so wise?
Hmm. Um, I outside of chess, I also like to do geography a lot, and I think learning geography and participating in geography competitions as well has increased my horizons of the world we live in.
Would you say you're a well-rounded person?
Um, Maybe academically, yes, but like overall, probably not. Like for example, like I'm pretty bad at basically any sport.
Well, that's okay. Yeah. All right. Well, good thing chess is a sport. So then you're fine. You've got the sporting category ticked. It's the game and sport and art. So you got all three. You don't have to worry. All right. Well, thank you for your time, Austin. I really appreciate it, and I wish you a good luck in the 1000 GM inaugural event. And I hope that you can get what you want from the games, learn a lot, and hopefully get a norm.
Thank you.
All right. Have a nice day, Austin. I will see you on the next episode.